So I am here with Brett. Now, Brett, your TikTok has over 1 million likes. Okay. So I like the fact that you remain consistent in what you're doing. You're an award-winning, musical theater composer. You're an expert at what you do. You know everything about Broadway. People ask you all these questions. Talk to us about your success so far, especially on social media.
It's very surprising to me, to be perfectly honest with you. I never in a million years would have ever thought that people would have an appetite for this. I mean, I hoped, but I didn't know. I thought that, I'm a high school choir director, so all my kids are on TikTok, and it was something that I hear them talking about all the time, constantly telling them to put their phones away because they're always on TikTok during class and whatever.
Right.
And if it hasn't been Facebook, I've been notoriously horrible on social media my entire career, and it was sort of my New Year's resolution to be better at it. So the biggest thing I had struggled with in terms of like starting any kind of successful social media account was like, what kind of content am I going to be able to provide on a daily basis? Like, just whether or not people are interested in it, like what am I even going to put out there?
Right. It's not easy.
No, it's not. And so I was thinking about this one day, like right before the new year, I was thinking about what could I give to people that they're not going to be able to get anywhere else, that I can provide daily and never really run out of material. And this kind of just in a moment came to me, and I was like, hey, maybe this would be the kind of thing people might have some interest in. And so I started it sort of tentatively, and then in a day or two, I had like 300 followers, and I was like, that's great. That's 300 people I can educate. And I was like, yay, I can teach more people about this. And it started blowing up, which is cool, I guess. I mean, I'm just keeping on. People like what I'm doing, and so I'm doing more of it, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's definitely very unique, and people love a behind the scenes story. So because you happen to know all of that, and this is like your expertise, and this is what you do every day. I mean, I remember being on a cruise ship, and I don't know if you've ever heard of enrichment seminars. Have you ever been on a cruise?
I have many times.
Many times. So sometimes when people go off the ship, they have what's called enrichment seminars, and people that are on the ship that didn't get off can just kind of sit around and learn something. Right. Well, one of the things I went to was it was about, I don't know, the psychology behind The Little Mermaid and Disney movies or something like that.
Oh, that's
cool. I'm like, really? And I'm like, but you know what? Let me sit in it and see what's up, because I am in that field. So it's kind of cool to just know the background of things. So I sat there and I'm like, wow, it is really interesting to learn about the psychology of, why a song is, why they picked the colors, why they chose this, how they did that. So essentially that's what you're doing, but when it comes to Broadway. So it's pretty cool.
It's interesting. And I think in a lot of ways, what I've discovered is people don't, and some of the comments I've gotten was like, I never knew I needed to know this, or like, I never knew. So I think people don't think they like songs because they like songs without really thinking about why they like them. Exactly. And I think it makes it that much better when you learn the kind of thought and craft that goes into affecting your emotions the way that these songs do. It's not like learning how a magician does a magic trick where it kind of loses its magic in a way. I think it makes it better. Yeah. And plus people then can go tell their friends, oh, I just learned this really cool thing about this song or whatever. And so that's been kind of neat too.
Yeah, it's kind of like a subliminal thing, because I think about even now, there's so many songs that I know. And then now that I'm older, I'll be singing it and I'm like, wait a minute, this is what I've been singing the whole, you don't even know the words you're even singing.
Yep.
It's so crazy. How is that?
Yeah.
So you have about 95,000 followers right now. I know you're trying to hit that 100,000 mark. What do you think? How can you achieve that? What do you need to get to that place?
Here's the thing. My good friend Rob, who is also now my co-producer on this series, and he's been helping me a lot with choosing content and all this stuff. For a while there, when I saw that the Disney stuff was really popular, and that's what brought in like a huge number of people who were following me, I sort of started to just cater to that, and I was running the risk of my channel turning into like a Disney only channel, and I didn't want that to happen. And Rob sort of reined me in a little bit and was like, look, you have stuff to offer, and if one of your videos doesn't get 100,000 views, like, it's not the end of the world, Brett. Like, it's okay. You can do other things, because some people followed you for the Broadway stuff. So by adding in the theme days of the week, I think, it's really helping me add structure to this thing, and it helps cover everything more equally or more fairly. So it's not just all Disney all the time, as much as I love a good Disney tune. But I think the next thing is just to kind of branch out like slowly. So like my next thing I think is I want to do a song from like one of the television episodes, like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend or something like that, where I'm sort of reaching a new audience that might not already be following me, which may then funnel them to some of the other content that I have. So I think it's just a matter of like tiptoeing out into like slightly other hashtag territories that, may not be directly related to musical theater. That might help. But
I like your idea from reading the press release about hosting a show where people can ask questions or kind of, and then at that moment you can maybe play the song and then talk about what happened or the behind the scenes of it. I think that's really a cool idea. That's something you can take on the road.
I would love to. I'm talking right now with a theater in Connecticut about doing a live show in the summer to kind of kick it off and do a live streaming event with maybe a small live audience in there, plus the live streaming audience to ask questions and have some kind of interaction. And then I also do on my Patreon, I do one live session every month for people who are on the Patreon. So we do a Zoom session where they all log in and we talk, we have this discussion, they ask questions, I play stuff. So it's much more kind of like a little bit more like a live show would be.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of fun.
So how does the Patreon work? You have a $2 and $5?
Yeah. Yes. Yep. So for the $2, so we post stuff on there sometimes about like if I do a TikTok one day, sometimes we'll post like a more in-depth look at it with some trivia, and then they'll Patreon, like if people want to request stuff, like request TikTok episodes, I prioritize the Patreon requests for that at the $2 a month level. Plus I post like people want to hear me sing more, so I post covers of me doing some of the songs that I do on the TikTok. I'll post full covers on there. And then at the $5 level is the one-on-one, not the one-on-one, but the small like VIP group like Zoom sessions. Yeah,
okay, that's cool. Yeah, that's pretty neat. It's neat that you offer that service and people can kind of connect with you on that level. Because Broadway, I mean, listen, like that's a thing. Like people love Broadway.
They do, and a lot of people want longer content, and that was the thing where I was like, well, if I'm going to do that, if I'm going to spend time creating that longer content, I need to like be able to justify to my family why I'm spending all the extra hours doing that. So it's a good way of helping give people what they want while also giving me a chance to not go hungry. So
no, that's smart. I think it's a great idea. So that kind of answers my question. I mean, do you have someone helping you with this, or are you doing it all on your own?
Yeah, so that's where my friend Rob comes in. So he does a lot of the Patreon side of things. Like he'll take care of a lot of the posting. Most of the time he'll caption all of my videos. So like I'll do usually on a Monday, I'll like marathon them for the week and like change my shirt with every episode. Yeah, because I can't trying to like always, that's the problem with creating daily content is like you have to create content daily. So it's much easier sometimes if I have him doing the captioning, I can just focus on recording the content and then sending it to him. So he's been instrumental in that. And plus sometimes if there are, if I've got 5 or 6 episodes planned for the week, he'll go digging and do some research online and be like, hey, you might want to include this in or you might want to include this in the episode. And he's really, he's a great lyricist on his own. We met through the BMI workshop. We were both in the BMI music theater workshop together. And he's just like, when it comes to Broadway trivia and everything, and Disney trivia especially, he's like a really brilliant guy. So he's been a godsend on this.
That's great. Are you originally from New York?
No, Connecticut, born and bred.
Okay, that's cool. So did you know you always wanted to get into theater or to Broadway or writing or?
I think, not always. I heard Castle on a Cloud from Les Mis when I was probably 7 years old. And that I loved listening to musical theater music. And I sort of played the piano a little bit, but it wasn't until middle school when my grandmother sort of forced me to do this acting musical theater camp. And I was like the shyest, most introverted kid. I still am. Doesn't seem like it.
I was very shy also. It's so funny.
But that's what, and going to that camp was like, I don't know, it opened something. It just putting on another skin and getting to be somebody else. That was the secret for me, was to jump into that. And then I was bit by the bug from that point on. I was like, this is what I want to do forever in some way. Yeah.
Wow. Do you ever work with anybody from the camp? Like anybody that you grew up with? Are you still friends with them?
Yeah. But the woman who ran the camp, Maureen Hamill, who herself was a big performer back in her day, we've been in contact ever since then. She runs a camp now at the Klein Memorial Theater in Bridgeport, Connecticut. So I've done some work there with the kids and with her. And the guy who music directs at that camp now is also my music director for the shows I direct in the summer. So yeah, I mean, I still keep in touch with a lot of those people. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's awesome. I think it's great. What advice can you give to someone who is, in your shoes? Does it matter, like, how old you are? Does it matter how often you post? Like, what advice can you tell somebody who wants to grow their niche on TikTok?
I think you have to be true to who you are and post the content that you are passionate about. And because if you try to just give people what you think they want, there's no figuring out this stupid TikTok algorithm. There just isn't. Everybody's tried and there's just no point. So if I like something, if I feel like something is really cool, I put it out there. And if people find it interesting, they do. And if they don't, they don't. And at least I know I'm doing what I feel like is the right thing.
Yeah, because I know that some people say, well, if you start a video by saying you should know or you this, then it's good. But I noticed all your videos, you start out with the same thing every time. You're consistent with that, but people are still watching the whole video through.
They are. And
intro.
Yeah. And a lot of people have commented on stuff saying, hey, maybe you should, like, we've seen a whole bunch of your videos, like you can do away with the intro now. And I'm like, I tried that a couple of times, and when it shows up on people's For You page and they have never seen me before and they don't know what it is that I'm doing, if they don't hear that intro, they just scroll past. So I keep it, and it's become a calling card now anyway. So it just kind of is what it is. But
yeah, people know. No, I think it's interesting because it's working for you. So
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe if I dropped it and stuck with that, and maybe it would do better. I have no idea, but it's not worth it to me to do it. So.
Has there ever been a time you were starstruck?
Oh God, yes. Oh my God, just on Monday.
Really?
I was having a rehearsal with my kids here, and I got a notification on my phone, and Mandy Patinkin was following me on TikTok and commented on my Sunday in the Park with George video.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I had to stop rehearsal. I was like, stop, everybody stop. Hold on. Like, I have to process this. It's like, this is insane. So yeah, that was a huge moment. And then I also did years ago with Van Deen, who's the founder and the president of Broadway Records, a very good friend of mine. We put together a benefit concert for the Sandy Hook shooting, and because I grew up in that town, I live in that town. Those are my people, and so that was, to this day, that remains and probably will remain one of the most magical thing that I've ever done in my life. And we had this. It was a huge concert, and like you name it, they were there. So like we worked. Stephen Schwartz came and played and sang "Beautiful City." Mark Shaman was there for a Hairspray number. Brian Stokes Mitchell sang "The Impossible Dream." The whole cast of Sesame Street was there. So like, I mean, that whole night I was like gaga over everybody that was there and that we were working with. It was an incredible evening. So emotional, so moving, and to have all those huge, talented, lovely, wonderful people come and lend their gifts to that event was really magical.
Wow. Isn't that crazy? There's so many things going on in the world, and that's definitely something that still, remains in my brain. The whole thing. I mean, that was crazy.
Yeah, I live 5 minutes from the school. So
wow. Did you know some of the families that were affected?
I didn't know them. I didn't know the families personally before it happened. I know some of them now. But the music teacher, who has since retired from that school, but she and I became really great friends, and I actually worked with her for a few years running a theater club at Sandy Hook after that happened, just to kind of, that was so, I don't think either of us really realized how powerful that was going to be for the kids, but to have the outlet to perform and think about that and channel that energy into something like that was a really cool thing.
This might be an insensitive question, you don't have to answer, but what did you think about the conspiracy theories? A lot of people thought otherwise, and that was just so wacky.
I know. For a while, I ignored it, and then it started really making me angry. And then I actually way back years and years ago, somebody, I can't remember if they had posted something. All I remember is I emailed somebody who had been promoting these crazy theories, and because I remember why, because it was someone who was like a theater person and wanted to like perform and be in the industry, and they're spouting all these crazy things, and I was so upset. I emailed them, and I've never ripped into someone as much as I did that person.
Good.
Nothing came out of it, I don't think, but it made me feel better, I guess.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it's horrible.
That you did what you could. Okay, well, anyway, off that topic, just a really fast last question about Broadway itself. I mean, I know for me personally, when the whole world shut down and they were saying, you know, we're not doing any more concerts, we're not doing any more sports games, I was like, okay. But when they said Broadway was shutting down, I'm like, we're doomed. What are we gonna do? Let's get the food. I need, you know? Yeah. So for me, that was my turning point. And so I can't even imagine how you felt when that happened. And so my question is, how did you feel when that happened? And now that things are starting to come back, what can people expect?
So it was, I guess, expected and unexpected at the same time when it happened, because it was just so immediate. It was like, wait, now there's nothing, like, and you didn't really think, I don't think anybody really was thinking, oh, it's going to be like over a year, until it was like, well, we'll just shut down for a little while and then we'll come back. And as time went on, it just was like more and more devastating. It's like, here we are, my friends, especially, I mean, at least I'm lucky enough, I have a full-time teaching job and like I'm fine, but so many of my friends are like, have been out of work and then leaving the city and moving away and doing other things, because what choice do you have?
Right.
And I mean, it's in some ways, what I'm hoping, even though I'm hopeful, but maybe a little pessimistic, is that some things on Broadway will change in terms of the kind of talent that's represented there, in terms of writing talent, creative team talent. I think writers of color have been largely underrepresented in New York on Broadway, and I'm hoping that with everything that's been going on over the past year, that might start to change once things start coming back. That's the thing I hope to see.
Great. No, it's awesome. I hope so too. And I hope fans can start to enjoy the shows that they once loved and get things back on track. Hopefully some sort of normalcy at some point.
And I think that's part of the reason why this TikTok thing has been as successful as it is, because it gives people that connection to, you know, the theater that they're kind of missing right now.
I like that.
For me, it does the same thing too. So.
And the background, can you just explain to everybody about your background? I mean, not your background like in life, but the background in your room right now.
Oh, in my office. Yeah.
I mean, we could talk about that too, but
like, how much time do we? I grew up as a.
It all started back.
These are. This is all choral music. So this is my part of my choral library at school. These are just boxes and boxes of music that I should probably go through and throw some of it out, but I haven't yet. I haven't had time. That's what that is.
Oh, that's interesting. No, because it's just neat looking. I feel like I'm in like forensic files or something.
I know, it's like a little library. It's yeah. They used to all be in huge cabinets in the choir room that were taking up a ton of space. And I said, why don't we just put shelves up in here and I'll deal with it. I don't care.
Yeah. No, it's cool.
Here they are.
Well, Brett, why don't you tell us where we can find you on TikTok, and if you have a website or anything else that you'd like to promote?
Yes. So on TikTok, it's just my name at Brett Boles. My Instagram is at the Brett Boles. YouTube is my name at Brett Boles. Instagram is like, I post some additional content there. It's easier for me to reach people with updates for the TikTok channel there, because TikTok, with the algorithm, it's like you never know who's going to see it.
Exactly.
Right. And then if you go to themt.com, it takes you right to my my TikTok channel anyway, which is my website needs some work right now, so I'm steering people away from that for the moment.
Okay, so we'll keep at the MT, and M is for musical.
Yeah. Okay. Musical theater. Yeah, musical. Yeah, MT.
Okay, smart. I like
that. A little double entendre.
Well, thank you, Brett. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.